Hello and welcome to X Witness Awake. I am your host, Jonathan. It's been a while since I've done one of these on-site videos. It is the middle of the night and I've got some cleaning to do, but I figured I'd talk to you cool people. I'm currently in an area with a very short timer on the light. So I pretty much have to wave my hand around constantly in order for it not to shut off every about 20 seconds. Super annoying. But anyway, so I was trolling or whatever, perusing the Watchtower Library, looking for subjects to talk about, and it occurred to me how paper thin the spiritual food that is served to the people by the Watchtower Bible Tract Society, by the governing body, by the faithful slave. How thin.
Oh, sir, it's only a tiny little thin one. It's only a wafer thin.
It has become. Turn back on, please. There we go. How thin it has become. There was an article, which in editing I will place here. Well, maybe there, not on my face. It's all of 46 seconds long, and that is being spoken out loud in the super slow and deliberate tone of speakers of Jehovah's Witnesses. 46 seconds. I'm thinking back to the old days, back when we would consider the Revelation book, or the Live Forever book, or what else? Daniel, something like that.
Isaiah.
Something with, some meat on the bones, where it would take a long time to consider, and there was a lot to consider, and it was, you'd have to really think about it, and you have to break it down. Usually, I want to say that we considered the Revelation book probably 3 times from cover to cover over the years. Could have been more. Probably this is a bad spot to pick, but here we are. It could have been more, but those were difficult discussions. Revelation is complicated. It's full of a lot of illustrations and a lot of things that at first glance don't make a whole lot of sense, and you're also dealing with the spin of the brothers, so it's going to be a tough read. It's going to be a lot to it. This thing's not turning back on again. Boom, there we go. But when you have articles on their website now that are 46 seconds long, spoken out loud, that is not a whole lot of spiritual food that you have at any given time, It's just kind of sad and pathetic. I'm just going to go with dark. We're just going to go with it being dark in here, and if it turns on again, oh well. So, people are directed to go to the website to learn about Jehovah's Witnesses and what they believe, but their articles are not very long at all. I think I probably get more information out of one of those ads or one of those clickbait articles to where you have to go to the next panel and there's like 17 pages you got to go to and it's full of ads and stuff. I probably get more out of that than I do one of these teeny tiny little paragraphs that's on the jw.org website. It's sad. The organization is just so different from what it used to be. Had things gone differently and I was still active, I don't know how I would feel about that now, because there's been a lot of things that have happened. you had the changes of the the New World Translation. They had the Silver Sword that came out, so you had alterations to the existing scripture that was already a poor version of the Bible. There's been scholars that have said that, this New World Translation is garbage. I believe it. It's basically a perversion of the Bible instead of an interpretation or a translation. And then you had the ARC, the Australian Royal Commission. So a lot of people left when that happened. And you had JW.org and JW Broadcasting that really became a thing shortly thereafter. So what I was used to is physical talks that had a lot to them, lots of scriptures and stuff, explanations and illustrations and so on. And what you have these days is just these teeny little blurbs that are supposed to be, I don't know, like a raisin when it comes to spiritual food. Not much there. Just and that's it. How are people supposed to be encouraged, and how are they supposed to learn the doctrine when it's these teeny tiny little bits of information that are supposed to be informative, but not so much. So, have you noticed that the way that the speakers talk is a sort of a certain way, a certain sort of cadence and a tone of voice, and just sort of a way that they talk to you like you're actually 5 and kind of dumb.
For everyone who continues to feed on milk is unacquainted with the word of righteousness, for he is a young child. But solid food belongs to mature people, to those who through use have their powers of discernment trained to distinguish both right and wrong. So the negative trait that children have is immature feeding habits. Think about it. Young children have a tendency to eat what they like, regardless of its nutritional value. Most young ones would be perfectly happy eating ice cream, candy, cookies, and other sweets for all of their meals. But now we ask, what do our spiritual appetites and feeding habits reveal about us?
They don't treat their people like they're intelligent. They treat them like children. They infantilize the brothers and sisters in the congregations. Like, there are churches that have sermons for the adults, and then they have a Sunday school for the kids. And the Sunday school is supposed to be something that's simple and easy to grasp, and then the sermons would be more in depth and thought-provoking. It feels like everything that they do now is just sort of a Sunday school version, super simplified, not a very extensive vocabulary at a reading level that might be grade 3 or something. It's just not what it used to be. So if this is supposed to be God's organization, that he's directing the faithful and discreet slave to give out food at the proper time, I think people are starving because they're not really getting much spiritual food that way. Maybe it's all baloney. What do you think? Is it possible it's all baloney? I think it's possible it's all baloney. It's a cult. Plain and simple, it is a cult. And it's funny because the first thing that the governing body will say is like, well, it's not a cult, because a cult, well, actually, Well, everybody says it. It's not a cult because it's not one person who's directing it. It's not like there's a cult leader. But they seem to forget something, that the roots of where they came from. How did the organization begin? Well, it started out as Charles Taze Russell in the 1800s. One guy. He was kind of a cult of personality. People really latched on to him. And then what happened? He gave out a bunch of predictions. They didn't work. Didn't happen. He was involved in pyramids, just all kinds of crazy stuff that you can look up on your own. Just some wacky things. And he passed away. And during that time, when he was on his way out from death, what's his name? Rutherford, Judge Rutherford. Sorry, I had a brain fart there. He took over as the president of the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. Oh, there we got light again. But then at a certain point, I don't remember when exactly, I think it was in the 1930s, he changed it to Jehovah's Witnesses because he wanted it to be his religion. He wanted to separate himself from the old way. So you had that cult leader before, and then it became the new cult leader. And then when he passed away, it went on to, is it Brother Noor? Yes, I believe it was Brother Noor was the next president of the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. So you get your next cult leader. And then at a certain point, there was one more, Franz. Then they went to a system of, well, let's not have one cult leader. Let's have a body, a governing body. We'll be like the apostles and the disciples of Jesus. Yeah, that's it. The whole, like the Last Supper, except it's these men in modern day. So, okay, currently it isn't a cult leader, but it's a group of cult leaders. Yeah. I'm not sure where I was going with this. It turned into, not so rich spiritual food to cult, but hey, you know what? It's a progression thing. Let's try that again. One thing leads to another, and you get to a new place. So terrible spiritual food. Not very rich. Not big portions. They don't really make you think, because they really don't actually want you to think. They want you to fall in line. They want you to do what they say. Think what they want you to think. Because they'll tell you, brothers, we are encouraged by this, or we feel this way. Don't we? We all feel this way. Well, you say that, you feel that way. I don't feel that way. But you're telling me I'm supposed to feel this way because you feel this way. You say we, not I. I must feel that way too. It's part of how brainwashing works. They just tell you how to feel, how to think, how to act. Part of that old bite model. Yep. So, I guess that's all I had to say on that. Was the pathetic spiritual food that this cult provides for people. Maybe better to get out of it. I hope that everybody wakes up soon. There are way too many people being hurt by this cult, and I would like to see that stop. So, anyway, sorry about the terrible lighting. For whatever reason, I decided to sit here and battle with this timer. And the timer won, but you can still see me. So that's it. I will talk to you next time. If you could please like and share and subscribe and all that good stuff. If you like what I do, please consider supporting me on Patreon. I still just have my lonely patron that's listed at the end of the videos every time. So she could use a companion. So if you would like to join, it's not much. It's more. It makes me feel good to have at least one person supporting me. I could use two. So we'll go with a 100%. That's my goal, to have 100% more patrons by the end of the summer. So maybe that'll happen. I don't know. Yeah. So I hope you're all having an awesome day, and I will talk to you later. Bye now.